So today we're going to replace this faucet and pop-up assembly and make it look like this using only this. Let's begin. So the first thing we're going to do is turn off our water supply. Okay. So we know this one is hot. So I will be marking it with a small piece of red tape. So now our shutoffs are labeled and water is turned off to the faucet. After shutting off the water, open the valve to relieve any pressure. Now we'll get underneath the sink and disconnect the supply lines from the faucet. Here. And here. Here we go. With the supply lines broke free from the faucet, simply unthread them. Disconnect the pop-up from the plunger rod. Remove the plunger rod. With the pop-up plunger removed, we will now loosen the two bolts that hold the faucet to the sink. So with these two nuts loosened, we can go ahead and remove those plates. Now we'll be free to lift the faucet off. With those plates removed, we're ready for removal of the faucet. Now we'll work on getting this cleaned up. With the sink all cleaned up, we'll drop in our new faucet and bolt it in place to the sink from underneath. With our faucet in place from underneath, I will try to do this one-handed, and I think I got it. Okay, so we'll thread these on like so. So both those nuts are screwed tight, holding the faucet to the sink. So now with the faucet seated, mounted to the sink, we will connect the supply lines. Hot on the left, cold on the right. That's why we marked the supply lines at the beginning. And that also helps the next guy or the homeowner should they need to shut one or the other off. They're marked and labeled. With the supply lines hooked up, we'll go ahead and open them. Now we leak check. There. And there. As well as the shutoffs. You see that little fella right there? Boop. No leaks. Now we'll pressurize the valve. Now I already did the hot. I'm going to do the cold. You're going to notice some discoloration in the water. That's normal. So our new faucet is in and working. Now we're going to replace this. First thing I do, disconnect these two nuts. With those nuts loosened and disconnected, I'm going to take this nut off. Since I had to remove this P-trap to replace the pop-up valve, I go ahead and I like to clean this, empty it of all the sediment and debris, and remove any hair clogs or bobby pins or anything that gets stuck in here, just to prevent an unnecessary service call in the future. See what a considerable difference that makes? There's no soap scum, no buildup, nothing for hair to catch. So this is a little behind the scenes thing that separates us from somebody else. Your homeowner would never know you did this, but this might have prevented an expensive plumbing repair in the future. So it's just that little extra, like labeling the pipes, that nobody will ever know, but it makes all the difference. Now to remove this, with this nut threaded all the way down, we will push up. Now I like to take a pair of needle nose and lock this in place. And then take my channel locks and twist this while holding it up top. So I need to use both hands, so I'll show you the finished results. So you can see how these two go together. This threads into there. They're not always this easy to take apart, so don't get frustrated, be patient. Also note, if you do not have another one of these and another one of these, you're going to want to save these two pieces to use on the new pipe. With the old pop-up removed, we're going to want to remove all of this old seal and as much of that grossness as possible. Don't forget to remove this old gasket as well. I'm just going to clean that up a little bit. After that drain opening has been cleaned, we take our plumber's putty. I'll show you a little trick with this. Hold on just a second. So with your plumber's putty rolled into a ball like this, instead of making it a rope, make a ball and pinch it in the middle, and then work it into a ring. That way you have a good consistent seal around the whole opening rather than a rope with it just overlapping. After it's rolled into a ball, I press it around the sink basin like that. Another helpful tip is to remove this blue plastic before you put it in the sink. So with the plastic removed, set and pop it aside, I will take this, slide it over my pop-up assembly, set this down over my plumber's putty. I'll take these two pieces and this nut and this rubber washer, and I will install them over that. So with that pop-up nut snug tightly and our plumber's putty pressing evenly around that flange, we're ready for the next step. Pull off the excess plumber's putty. Save it. We can reuse that later. As mentioned before, I saved these, so I will be installing them and connecting the cleaned out P-trap. It'll go just like this. With this nut and this nut, And that nut tight. This nut's tight. We're ready to install the pop-up on the back. Next, these 4 pieces will be used to complete the pop-up assembly. And it'll function as such. So we will be inserting the pop-up rod, the pop-up, and the pieces that go back here. So when inserting the pop-up, this end faces the back towards the wall. Now we'll go underneath and insert this plunger. With the pop-up in place, and the plunger rod in place, we will now install these 2 pieces. This will go in the back of the faucet. And this will go underneath here. I'll show you in a second. So with the rod hooked up, let's see how closed, open, closed, open. Pulling up on the rod closes the pop-up, pushing down on the rod opens the pop-up. With those pieces in place, now we can leak check. So with the pop-up assembled and the faucet hooked up, we are now ready to leak check. And we want to pay particular attention to here, here, and here, here. No leaks. Hooray! One last thing I like to do, I like to fill up the sink and give it a good drain. Make sure it can handle all the water. So we'll fill this up and then we'll dump it. With our sink full. Good quick draining. No leaks. Let's clean her up. She's good to go. So there you have it. New faucet and pop-up and a double vanity. Thanks for watching.